Welcome to Cooking with Cathy. So glad you all could join today. I am making a very untraditional St. Patrick's Day item. It's a baked falafel, and I'm using edamame instead of traditional chickpeas. And it is very green, but it certainly is not traditional St. Patrick's Day fare. So if you want to mix it up a little bit this year and do something really healthy, this program is part of Holy Cross Health Diabetes Prevention Program. So you're going to find healthier options as you continue to watch this show. So our ingredients today are edamame, garlic, lemon zest, and I have a mixture here of flat leaf parsley and cilantro. So you can't substitute the curly, it just doesn't cooperate as well. But if you're shopping and one item is not available, you can double up. So if the cilantro is not available, you can use 2 cups of the flat leaf parsley and vice versa. Just make sure the people who are going to be enjoying this treat like cilantro. And of course, we're using some olive oil today to drizzle and onion. So first I thought I would show you, since all this gets processed in the food processor, it's not necessary to cut the onion really fine. So I basically cut it in half, take the skin off, and then I just cut it in quarters, and I throw it in the food processor. And then I thought I would show you, this is a microplaner. If you don't have one, get one. It's really nice to grate cheese, and it's also good to do the lemon zest. So it just works like that, really easy, and you get a really nice zest from that. So you can see that. But I'm throwing in the seasonings last, so it's on top. So next, first the onion, then the edamame. Keep in mind, you can use the chickpeas, but if you're going to use chickpeas, soak them overnight, the dry kind. You cannot use the chickpeas in a can because it will come out too mushy. And this recipe is from a site called Love and Lemons. There's also a book. Next, I'm going to put in the herbs. And what I do with the herbs is I washed them yesterday, and then I trimmed off all the stems and I let it dry because you can't refrigerate the herbs wet. They'll get moldy. So make sure if you want to do it the day before, you certainly can, but make sure you let them dry before you refrigerate them. It's a really good time saver to do this part the day before because this is the most time-consuming part. Not hard, just time-consuming. Okay, I add my zest. My favorite new toy is this little mini spatula. Works very well. And then my seasonings I have salt, I have cumin, I have cayenne pepper, coriander, and also some baking soda. And you see, I just put it all. And again, when you're cooking, if you could prep ahead of time, it makes it a little bit easier, especially if you're trying to get dinner on the table or you have company. Prep it up ahead of time, and then it's really easy. And then the garlic, and I know that is frozen cubed pureed garlic from Trader Joe's. It comes in a little ice cube tray in the freezer section. Again, time saver. When you process this, really important to pulse it, not just, so you have to keep pulsing, test it. If you go too far, it's going to come out too mushy. So I did pulse it, of course, ahead of time, so you didn't have to listen to that. So this is what it looks like. So before you take it out of the food processor, test it. So take a tablespoon, take some of that out, and just make sure you can create the little patty. So you create your little patty and then kind of work with it on the tray. When you bake this, you bake it for 14 minutes on 400. You have to then flip it When you flip it, be really careful because sometimes it falls apart. I like to use a mini spatula for this. So create your little patties. And I also use some olive oil on the parchment paper and I wipe it off with a paper towel so there's not too much. And before you put it in the oven, you're going to drizzle a little olive oil on each patty because they can become kind of dry, but not a lot, very little. So it's still going to be healthy, not too caloric. And you are getting some protein from the edamame and of course the herbs, and it is vegan. So for those of you who are trying to eat plant-based. So now I will use a little drizzle of olive oil. So again, very little. I don't like to use the sprays because you tend to use too much. So just a little drizzle. I didn't even put half a teaspoon here, tablespoon rather. All right, ready to go in. You guys can see how those came out. This recipe makes about 12 little patties. But yeah, I probably should use a pot holder, even though, spoiler alert, it isn't hot. All right, here we have the finished product on the pan, and then you can be creative with it. You can serve it with as a salad, as an appetizer. You can put it in a wrap. You can serve it with all kinds of other veg, cucumbers, onions. You can put yogurt on top. You can drizzle with a little balsamic. So the sky's the limit, and there are some suggestions on your recipe.